Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Folks, in this video, I'm going to help you understand the key differences. I'll compare the first, the second, and the third stimulus check. As you know, the first stimulus check was $1,200, the second is $600, and the third is $1,400. I'll also answer commonly asked questions about the third stimulus check, and I'll tell you what to do if you're not going to get the full amount of the third stimulus checks. Let's just jump right in. On your screen, you'll see an image courtesy of a Bloomberg article. I'll provide you with a link to the Bloomberg article in the description section below so you can check it out. Comparing the stimulus checks. Now, you'll see the section in the yellow color represents the latest Democratic proposal for the $1,400 stimulus checks. The section in green corresponds to the $1,200 stimulus check, the CARES Act, the first stimulus check, and the pink color corresponds to the second stimulus check, the $600 stimulus check. Let's now hone in on single filers, and you can see that by and large for single filers, the thresholds were the same, the phase outs were the same. It's just that the amount is higher. The third stimulus check amount of $1,400 is higher. That's as far as single filers are concerned. As far as head of households with one dependent and two dependents are concerned, it's similar. You can see that the amounts are higher. You'll see that the yellow line is higher than the other lines because the third stimulus check, the $1,400 stimulus check, is larger than the first two stimulus checks across the board. So regardless of whether you're the head of household with one dependent or two dependents, the thresholds are the same, the phase outs are the same. It's just that the amounts are substantially different. Now, let's take a look at married couples filing jointly with no children. This is also similar where the amounts are the amounts differ, but the income thresholds and the phase outs are similar. Now, if you're married filing jointly with one child, it's also similar there, but this is where things start to get really interesting. If you're married filing jointly with two children, you get substantially more money. As you can see, this the yellow section, $1,400 times 4 corresponds to $5,600, which is what the yellow line represents under the header, married filing jointly with two children. But after $200,000, there's a hard stop. In other words, if you make more than $200,000 a year based on your most recent tax returns, you're going to get nothing, zip, including any money for dependents. In other words, you're not going to get money for dependents if you make more than $200,000 a year. A hard stop at $200,000 a year. This is the key difference between the first, the second, and the third stimulus check. If you make less than $200,000 a year based on your most recent tax returns, which is a majority of our fellow Americans, for all intents and purposes, the third stimulus check is the same from an income threshold, from a phase-out standpoint. The difference, of course, is that the first stimulus check was $1,200, the second stimulus check was $600, and the third stimulus check is going to be $1,400. That is the key difference. So what do you do if you didn't get your full stimulus check? Here's a headline of an article on your screen. What to do if you didn't get your full stimulus check. Again, I'll provide you with a link to the article in the description section below. So I'll answer some commonly asked questions now about the stimulus check. The first question is, how much should you have gotten? Well, as far as the first stimulus check is concerned, each person was supposed to get $1,200, $2,400 for married filing jointly, plus $500 for each dependent child under the age of 17. By the way, this is completely different from the third stimulus check, which I'll get to in just a second. As far as the second stimulus check was concerned, that maxed out at $600 per person, $1,200 for married filers, plus $600 for each dependent child under the age of 17. The income threshold to get the full stimulus checks was $75,000 for single filers, $112,500 for people who file as a head of the household, and $150,000 for married couples filing jointly. So with the first and the second stimulus check, those were the thresholds. As far as the third stimulus check is concerned, it's $1,400 per person and it's $2,800 per couple, and it's up to $5,600 for a family of four, including adult dependents. That is the key factor here. At the time I'm recording this video, we haven't received any information about potential caps or potential thresholds for the number of dependents. So let's say you filed your 2020 return and you had 8 dependents. Could you potentially get the $1,400 check for yourself, your spouse, as well as $1,400 times 8 dependents, including, by the way, adult dependents? Let's say you have someone elderly and you're a caretaker for them and you have children that are dependents on your tax returns. The answer to that question is we don't know yet. The information that I have suggests that there is no cap, but we'll wait till the final piece of legislation announced. One thing is for sure, the IRS is going to be making these payments based on the most recent tax returns that they have on file. So if your 2020 income was lower and if you have more dependents in your 2020 tax returns, you may want to go ahead and file sooner rather than later so that the IRS uses that information as opposed to 2019 information where you potentially had higher income and lower dependents. Again, that depends on your situation. So you want the IRS to rely on information that maximizes the probability of you getting the correct stimulus check amount that is owed to you based on your eligibility and based on the threshold of income and based on the number of dependents on your most recent tax return. Now, what happens to those who are making more than the thresholds? They can still get the stimulus check, but the stimulus checks begin to phase out, and at certain income thresholds, the stimulus check is gone entirely. So these payments phase out at a 5% rate, which means there'll be a $50 reduction in the stimulus check for every $1,000 in additional income above the thresholds that I highlighted earlier. $75,000 for single filers, $112,500 for those who file as a head of household, and $150,000 for married couples filing jointly. Now, there is a reason why some people fell through the cracks and didn't get their full stimulus check payment in the past, folks. So in case you're wondering, why didn't I get my full first stimulus check or the second stimulus check payment? It's probably because the IRS relied on older income, 2018 income, which was potentially higher than 2019 income, or 2019 income, which is potentially higher than 2020 income. So here's something interesting. Congress instructed the IRS to use existing data, the most recent data that the IRS had on file with the first and the second stimulus checks, and they are likely to do the exact same thing with the third stimulus check. So that means that for the first round of payments, the $1,200 stimulus checks that were authorized back in March, the IRS relied on income that they had on file, which at that time, remember in March 2020, at that time it was 2018 income for a majority of individuals because individuals had not filed. So guess what? History is repeating itself right now. For the third stimulus check, if the IRS has your 2019 income on file, which is going to be higher most likely than 2020 income, that could mean that you lose out on certain stimulus checks because for most of us, the 2020 income was lower than the 2019 income. Therefore, you want to file your taxes now, especially if you had more dependents in 2020 relative to 2019. So if you're one of the individuals who had lower income in 2020, you will fall within the income threshold for the $1,400 stimulus checks. There are other types of individuals who could fall through the cracks as well. Now, people who don't file an annual return because they simply don't make enough money, they don't have enough taxable income. By the way, this includes seniors who receive social security benefits. These are the individuals who can potentially get left out of the $1,400 stimulus check. You can get in touch with the IRS directly and make sure they have the correct information for you on file so that even if they don't have a tax return, they should be able to pay you. We'll provide you more links in the description section below. Also, what happened with the first and second stimulus checks was that some individuals accidentally threw away the checks or the debit cards that contain their payments. Some payments came in via debit card, and these were sent in generic envelopes to prevent theft. And some recipients, unfortunately, thought that that was junk mail and threw these debit cards away. And here's something important, folks. I hope you know about the recovery rebate credit. Yep, the recovery rebate credit allows you to actually get the amount that was owed to you if you got a stimulus check that was smaller than what was owed to you. Yes, this is something called the recovery rebate credit. So let's say you received a stimulus check, but you should have received more. What should you do? This is super important, folks. Number one, you want to file your tax returns because the sooner you file your tax returns, the faster you can get the credit. Number two, you have to pay attention to line 30 of the form 1040, which asks about a recovery rebate credit. Let's show you form 1040 on your screen right now. And I want you to, let's scroll down, and I want you to pay particular attention to line 30 of the form 1040, which lists recovery rebate credit. Basically, folks, the IRS is looking for you to calculate the difference between the size of the stimulus check that you got and the size of the stimulus check that you should have got. So you should know that, and that's why this video with the thresholds is very important. Now, the good news is if you're confused about the recovery rebate credit, full instructions on how to calculate this, how to complete Form 1040 are available on this document. You'll see this document on your screen that shows you the 1040 and the 1040 SR instructions. I want us to scroll down to page 58 of this document, and this page provides specific instructions on how to calculate the recovery rebate credit. As you can see on your screen, the recovery rebate credit, line 30, there's a series of questions. Check them off, and this should help you this should help you calculate the correct amount of the recovery rebate credit specific to your situation. So let's give you an example of how the recovery rebate credit can be calculated. Let's say a couple had their first child in 2020. Congratulations. This couple would have received a total of $2,400 in round one, $1,200 times two. First stimulus check, that amount would have been $1,200 times two, which is $2,400 for this couple, the first stimulus check. The second stimulus check would have been $1,200. So when you add the $2,400 plus the $1,200, you get $3,600 in stimulus checks that the couple got in 2020. But because the couple had their first child in 2020, they are now eligible for a recovery rebate credit. And here's the best part. They would be able to claim a credit for the first stimulus check and the second stimulus check for the newborn child. If you look at line 30 of the form that I showed you earlier, you'll be able to see that they'll be able to claim a credit of $1,100, which is $500 through the first stimulus check for the dependent and $600 for the second stimulus check. So this is pretty incredible. So they would essentially be able to get $1,100 that they wouldn't otherwise have gotten thanks to the recovery rebate credit. So folks, I know this was a little technical. Go back and watch this video again. Please share this video with friends and family. I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. A lot of hard work goes into these videos. If you want to thank me, please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me personally. That would bring a smile to my face like this. And that would really help out the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. I do this with passion. I do this with intensity. I do this because I want to give back and because I want to help. And hopefully, what you can do for me is click the like button, click subscribe, enable notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.